Okay, in previous lecture, we have discussed about the border layout. Border layout is arranging your component into the five directional region, north, south, east, west, and center. Now, in this video lecture, we have discussed about the grid layout. Grid layout is nothing but it is a one kind of the table format that arrange your component into the table format. Whenever I am talking about the table format, it will contain the row and column format. Now, there is a three type of the constructor in the grid layout, as each class contain the first default constructor in which it is arranging in the row. Second, which contain the two parameter, that is your parameterized constructor, row and column. And third is the contain the four parameter with row and column, horizontal gap and vertical gap. We will discuss according to step with the practical demonstration on each type of the constructor. Now I hope my screen is visible to all of you. As we have already mentioned the steps, but we will revise it and we are going according to the steps for the program grid layout. First, you need to import the two package. One is the java.awt and another is the javax dot swing. That is your first step for any layout. We have imported the two package. Second step, you need to create your own class because we are discussing the grid layout. So I am giving my class name as a grid. Here step number 2 is completed. Now you need to create your own class constructor as a default constructor. So I am creating the grid constructor. Now we will perform the step number 4 to 9 inside the default grid constructor. You can see now step number 4 is you need to create the object of JFrame class. So I am creating the object of JFrame class. My object name is JF. You can give any object name, whichever you want to give it. After that, I need to create the 5 buttons. Right now, I'm creating the 5 buttons. If you want to create 6 button as well, using the class JButton, and my button name is just according to the number 1. Same way I am creating remaining 4 button B2, giving the label 2, B3, giving the label 3, B4, giving the label 4, and B5, giving the label 5. Here we have taken the 5 buttons. Now step number 5 is completed. Now you need to set the layout. There is a inbuilt function inside the JFrame class for setting the layout. That is the set layout. Now I want to set the grid layout. So I am passing the new grid layout. Right now I am taking the default constructor. So this is my default constructor. I have not passed any kind of parameter inside the grid layout. Step number 6 is completed. Now you need to add this 5 button by method add of JFrame class, jframe.add B1. Here we are just adding because there is not any region like as border layout. In border layout, we are passing the another parameter for specifying the direction of the region. Now here JF dot add B1. Same way I am adding the remaining button B2, B3, B4, B5. See, I have added all the B1 to B5 button with the help of add method of JFrame class. Now, step number 7 is completed. Moving forward to the step number 8, you need to set the frame size. So I am just giving the set size 300, comma 300. Now 300 is the height, 300 is the width for the frame. Now as you know that we need to compulsory set true for set visible method to visible our frame. Here, as you know that step number 9 is completed. Here my constructor is also completed. Now I am taking step number 10, which is your main method, public static void main string AR. Now we need to create the object of our own class because we have written step number 4 to 9 inside the default constructor. So when object is created, default constructor is automatically called. So my class name is, as you know, that it is a grid G1 is equal to new grid. Whenever I am writing that, default constructor is automatically called. And we have right now used the first default constructor for the grid layout. I am saving my program. Click on the run button. Whenever I am click on the run button, you can see that as we have discussed that only one component should be arranged either in a row format or in a column format. So right now button number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is arranged in the column format. Now I want to specify the number of rows and number of columns. So grid layout provide the facility for the same. So here in place of set layout, see in the output you have already checked that right now all these things should be in a column. I hope that output is visible to all of you. You can see here, this is my current output. Now I want to take the 3 and 2. I am passing just the 3 and 2 value inside the grid layout. So it is referred to the second constructor which specify the number of rows and number of columns. Now I am clicking on the run button. You can see here there is a 3 rows and 2 columns. 1, 2 and 3 rows and 1 and 2, 2 columns. That means first parameter define the row and second parameter define the column. Suppose I am giving, I hope that this is the first output whenever, and now this is your second output. I hope difference is visible to all of you between these two outputs. Now suppose I am closing this and I am doing the reverse, 2 rows and 3 columns, and click on the save button. As you know that inside the program, I have done the reverse, 2 rows and 3 columns. Now click on the run button. You can see inside the output, now it is a 3 column and 1 and 2 are rows. This is the first parameter is define the row and second parameter is define the column. Now there is also the another constructor with the row and column. which contain the four parameters. First is row, second is number of column, third is for horizontal gap, and fourth is for vertical gap. So I am specifying this four parameter. First is the number of rows, second is number of column, horizontal gap, and vertical gap. Now I am saving my program and click on run button. You can observe the difference in the output. There is a horizontal and vertical gap is created between the button. So I hope first is a default constructor. Second, in which you can specify the number of rows and number of columns. In third, you can specify the number of rows, number of column along with horizontal and vertical gap. This is all about the grid layout. Thank you so much, everyone. In next video series, we have discussed about the flow layout.